the challenges facing this Cardinals defense?
I mean, they got a lot of playmakers. Got some savvy veterans in there. Obviously, Buddha is a hell of a player. Always run the ball. I mean, he's probably, I don't want to make any comparisons, but he a dog. So that, obviously makes us have to account for him. And yeah, I mean, they got a hell of a defense.
What do you think changed last game that you can carry over to this game? We're talking about the team as an offense.
I mean, we just came out not on the same page. I can't really put my finger on exactly what led to us not being able to convert and make it happen in the first half, but I think it was just a little bit too much strain and stress, and like I said after that game, it was just a little too tight from everybody, and I think everybody had the right intentions and was focused, but it was just a little too much tightness throughout the entirety of the offense. So once we kind of loosened up, talked to each other, and just remind each other that we do this. Everybody here has made plays, so got into a rhythm and started making a few plays, and that's kind of how it happens. When it rains, it pours sometimes, from a negative and a positive standpoint. So we obviously want to make as many plays early as we can to set ourselves up for success throughout the rest of the game.
Where do you think that tightness comes from? Do you think it comes from a good place, like everybody wanting to make plays?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a certain level of maybe stress that some people feel from the pressure of obviously who we have, and obviously me coming here, that can add some more pressure. And I remind the guys, don't feel that, because I don't feel it, and I'm the one that should feel it, if anybody. Obviously coming back, play with my old quarterbacks, a lot more pressure on me to do that. And, for me to go out there and just play the game that I love and play for my teammates, that's what my focus is, and just want them to do the same. And when I speak to them, it's not me trying to just come in as the all-knowing. I just try to shed anything that I can on those guys so that it can help them in their situation and allow them to play free. And that's how I know everybody typically plays to the best of their capabilities, is from playing free and not straining in a negative way.
Davante, when you were coming here, when you knew you were going to be a Jet, that second half with you and Garrett, was that something you kind of envisioned that this is what you guys could do together with Aaron?
100%, yeah. And I knew the whole time it wasn't necessarily going to happen in the Pittsburgh game. I just got there coming off injury. Like, it was a lot of different, pieces, and we got to figure one another out, find out how you have a team or offense. I mean, really a team, but, I can only speak from our side, full of playmakers. Like, that doesn't always work. You see it in the NBA and, different, I'm sure, in soccer as well. But you got to learn to play with each other, and, that comes from the top, the coaches, figuring out which plays to call and how to space out plays for different guys throughout the game, and obviously working with Aaron as well. So it takes time, but it's something that people were a little impatient about, wanting to see. But hopefully now, I know I feel a lot more comfortable. Hopefully now this is where we can kind of take off as offense and get some consistency.
I know you only been here a short time, but just your thoughts on Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson, and they'll probably be having an elevated role this week without Mike Williams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all those guys are willing and able to get in there and make it happen. I've seen Zay. I mean, he's made plays already in his short career, obviously returning more than anything, but to have his first touchdown be from Aaron and to be a low ball away on the keeper like that, that's something that he can use as a confidence builder to, take him into his next opportunity. And, the same with Irv, him having more opportunities. He's a big target, somebody that if he gets, the wrong guy on him, I mean, he's going to be able to do his thing as well. So everybody, on this offense is able to go out there and make plays, and that's what makes this thing exciting.
I know you wanted to play with Aaron, obviously, but how much thought did you give into what you and Garrett could be like together when you were, in the process of getting moved here?
Honestly, almost equally paid attention to something that we talked about probably like a little over a year ago, having the potential to do that. We sat down at dinner out here actually in New York, and just talking about, how big of a fan I am of his game, and he let me know that I was his favorite receiver, and different things like that, and we still talk about stuff like that. So to be able to work with somebody that obviously, if I'm his favorite receiver, it's because of the details and the things that I put in, which obviously he's interested in learning, because it only help him in his career as well. So it's real synonymous, this game is. So it's you see that sometimes the guy that's the icon ends up being a fan of the young guy, and in the reverse. So it's fun to work with him and see him work every day, and I'm definitely looking forward to this continuing.
What was the occasion you guys having dinner together?
Well, it was actually fluke, but just mutual friends. Ended up in we didn't end up at dinner together, Fluke. I actually reached out to him because I was in the area, but ended up kind of in the same proximity as a result of knowing some of the same people. But I just hit him up and told him he should pull up and just to kick it, and had a great night. Ended up spending a little time after dinner and got to know each other a little bit better. And it's only, I feel like as soon as I got here, we jumped right into it like we had been legit friends for a long time, which we've been acquaintances, but not to the level, we hadn't spent enough time together to really classify it as such. But being around him now, it feels real natural.
Did you say in season, off season? I don't know if you said.
No, it was off season. Yeah.
Both those two huge catches you had, the one was it 4th and 1,
Yeah.
and the touchdown. Were those both stutter and go?
No, they were just goals, like a fade, basically.
Does
Yeah.
it look like you juked the corner nice on both plays?
Yeah, that's just some of the release game that I've built up over a decade of playing this game.
You touched on this the other day on your show about the brick and the impact he's made on you and your early impressions.
Yeah.
You gave him a really ringing endorsement. You've been around former player coaches before, so that's nothing new for you. What is it about him that struck you so much?
I mean, immediately what I was met with is just like first of all, a grown man that's not afraid of other grown men. And you come in this position and you're a position coach before. It's easy to just come in and be the likable guy, but he's not worried about being accepted. He want to be respected as a head coach, and that's something that I live by. And that quote is not something that he said. That's just something that I've always wanted to be as a leader, for any team, which is kind of why it was the way that I was when I first got here, with speaking to the team. So being kind of having that same mindset as far as that, I feel like that's where we connected. And just hearing the way he holds guys accountable. He'll turn around and juice up somebody when they do something, with positive reinforcement. So just being able to be that type of coach and saying, real stuff in, team meetings, and not afraid to call guys out, and also, like I say, pat them on their back when they do well. Like that's how you get, the team around you. And it sucks that, they haven't been able to, or we haven't been able to win more for them. But that's hopefully where we're headed to now.
You were talking about guys being a little tight before the game. Can part of that be having to dig out of a big hole, thinking your team, 2 and 6 and 3, it's the pressure of that?
I think it's more pressure to sustain, success than to come out of a hole. Sometimes that's where you got to just look at it as, look, we in a hole, we got nothing to lose. So I don't think it's that, because I kind of look at it the opposite way, but. Potentially. I mean, people are different, so maybe that's what a couple guys are feeling. But either way, I think it was more about just the focus of being, more celebratory in each other's success, and just celebrating each play and being in the moment. Because even since then, even times where we haven't done great, right? The Malachi dropped the ball short. Like you saw the energy different. Like 2-3 weeks ago, guys would have been quiet, heads down on the sideline, but just after kind of bringing a little bit more attention to it and making them aware, I think that awareness kind of fixed them.
You talked about Garrett, with him being, or you being his favorite guy and all that.
Yeah.
As a vet, not that you need extra motivation, but when you are now with this guy every day practicing on the field, does that give you some sense of like re-energizing feeling, for you, and at this point in your career,
I mean,
he's looking at you?
It's definitely a good feeling, but I play like everybody's looking at me regardless. That's what, when you got a certain level of pride that you attach to what you do. I'll get out there on the field. I'm in warm-ups. I'm in warm-ups thinking that everybody in here is looking at me warm up right now. So, having just an extra set, I'm at practice. I've always been like that. I've always had a certain level of practice habits just based off of my vets. And when I came in the league, I had Jordy and Randall to watch, and they were finishing 80 yards down the field. It wasn't a question if I was going to do it. The rookie coming in. So having that mindset, it didn't really boost anything. But knowing that I have a player that's looking to literally watch and maybe mimic and learn things from me, like obviously it gives me more incentive to get it in.